Well, so sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, can't believe we're on number 50. I was thinking that maybe I'll stop next week, but a few people have said don't stop, and also I promised that next week I'll do some exercises every day. Apparently there's an error. He's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Ooh. Okay. Oh well, I'll just keep going and see what happens. Okay, so so next week I'm gonna endeavour to do a training session every day. So a different exercise each day, or set of exercises. Obviously, on Tuesday we're going to do Q&A again. So that does mean we won't necessarily do some exercises, but I'm going to give you some dry stuff to work on. And Wednesday is going to be a live feed again from the dry session. So anybody in the area, anybody in London, any of you Londonians fancy coming along to the second No Tanks club session, you're welcome to come along. It'll be in Richmond Park, right by the gate, or just go in Kingston Gate, and just about 100 yards on there's a field, and that's where we'll be doing the second No Tanks session. And now tomorrow we are doing a lake day, so it's the first lake day of the year. We're up to Gildenborough Waters, Gildy, and if you want to join us, again, hit me up on the messenger, and you're welcome to come along. It looks like there'll be a dive at 9:30 and a dive at 12:30, and you can come along and enjoy that. So before we go any further, there's loads of warnings coming up on my screen. I don't know what any of them. Stream health is excellent now. Okay, so it's not receiving a good stream of. Oh well. See if cleaning the lens helps. Okay, so I don't know. We'll see whether it works. Okay, so I'm going to put through just put up a quick video from New Year's Day. So just sit back and relax and enjoy this.
Sit there, baby, come and grab my body, 'cause my feelings going, wanna climb my mountain. Grab me a small poem, put my favorite song on, gather all my senses, be my refuge, I love. Yes, nothing's the matter, we are climbing the ladders, flipping, mixing the colors we never thought we've got.
Well, there you go. So just a quick video from our lake days. Please come and join us. That's kind of what we get up to. Obviously, it goes without saying that we won't be that close to each other tomorrow because we'll be socially distancing. Okay. Now, a couple of people have asked, what I wanted to go over today was, and I have mentioned it in past in a few of the other episodes, but I really wanted to knuckle down because people have been asking about it, about arm position. So you've got the basic, what we call basic position, okay, so like this, okay? And it comes from the Russian fin swimmers, where I learnt to fin swim. So I went to train in Russia with the world champions at the time, who were team skate, in Siberia, in a place called Tomsk. And the interesting thing was, well, there's so many interesting things that happened in Tomsk. One of them was when I arrived, we went to a school where the pool was that we were going to train. And I was actually training with the world champion team, the under-14s world champion team, and they beasted me every day. But I turned up at school and where the pool was, and they said, "Oh, you could put your monofin in there," and there was just a cupboard, and it was a cupboard, and there was just rack after rack after rack of monofins. There must have been 40 monofins in there. And I was like, wow, that's a lot of monofins. And they went, yeah, that's your club or your team or whatever. And there's another 3 cupboards exactly the same, just of all these monofins. And it made me realise how big a sport it kind of is in certain countries and certain places in certain countries. And I also realised that I'd come to the right place to learn fin swimming. Because they were fantastic at it, and that's what they did. And they trained. The kids started at like 7 or 8. They felt that they were strong enough to partake in fin swimming, and so they would train at the school before school and after school. So it's twice a day they train, every day except Sunday and Wednesdays. And Wednesdays only trained once, and then they had a sauna in the afternoon. Obviously, different clubs had sort of sauna at different points, and it was in the school that they had this sauna, and that's it. So you train twice a day, and it was in like February in Siberia, because they only let me go for certain time periods where the team wasn't really training in their full training, and it was -20 outside or something ridiculous. And I must admit, I got there in the morning. We did some strength and conditioning, which was rudimentary. So they had baked bean tins full of lead that you used as dumbbells, and they had a couple of pieces of equipment that still had plastic sheets on. And they said, "Oh no, we don't use them yet. They were gifted by somebody, and we're not using them yet." So they were just kept there in this strength and conditioning room, which was, say, skipping, jumping, sit-ups, sit-ups, etc., etc. So they would train for half an hour before the session, so full-on strength and conditioning in the afternoon, and in the morning it was a full hour of strength and conditioning. So I turned up and I was staying with one of the team members. I was staying at his house, and they turned up at school, did an hour strength and conditioning, then an hour in the pool. Then I just went home. I was just eating anything I could, Mars bars, chocolate, anything, just get food in me. I'd already had breakfast, did my training, had to kind of get the energies back in. Then I slept. Then I woke up for lunch, and then went back to school for the second session, another half hour strength and conditioning, then the session, and then I'd go home, have an evening meal, and sleep. It was brutal. I mean, like, brutal. And just to make you realise what level they were working at, I was giving the kid a lift home after school, because I had a taxi to take me there and back. And he said, "Oh, stop." And we stopped the car, and he jumped out, and he just ran across this field, knee deep in snow, to where they'd cleared a bit of the snow, cleared it, and was going to play football. So he had got up with me, done his hours training, hours strength conditioning, hours training, full day at school, half hour strength and conditioning, full hour in the pool, and was going home. And I'd already slept during the day once, and he was getting out to go and play football with his mates, 20 degrees below zero, in a field that was knee deep in snow that somebody had cleared an area. And it was just like, yeah, this is training. That's full on training. Anyway, I digress quite a long way, because I was going to talk about the basic position, and this is where I got my training from. So I stayed there for a month and trained with Skate. And the basic position, so this position we have here is what they call a basic position, and that's what NTX call it, basic position. And it's super important. You can get into that position. Okay, so you need flexibility in the shoulders, flexibility in the upper back, or movement in the upper back, and then flexibility in the chest that allows the chest to move. Okay, so I can put my chest out and my chest in easy like this, but as soon as my hands up, my shoulders are locked, and it's really hard to do. So we have to work that flexibility to allow the chest to move. Now, you will see quite a few people who swim, especially stereo finning, not in basic position. Now, basic position, incidentally, the hands should be pointing down like this in basic position. Okay, this is the hydrodynamic, so your arms would be parallel with the rope or the floor, depending on what you're doing, or going down, hands like this. Okay, this is hydrodynamic position, and you will see some people not using that position, but you cannot efficiently monofin if you don't have your hands above your head. You can't do it. You can't do it because the way the body moves. Okay, the pivot point is just at the top of or the bottom of the breastplate, and so there's only this much body above, and that's, as I said, driving like this. Okay, so you need something above this which is stationary, which will give you some sort of leverage to allow the body to move. Okay, now in when you're stereo finning, people put their hands down because you don't need that leverage, because your body's not moving like this. The body's you've got leverage between the legs. But I personally feel it's super important still to be in that basic position, because when you're like this, you can control whether you go forwards, whether you can go left or right. Okay, if you don't, then you have to control your head. So if you're going down and you realize you're slightly off target and you want to go towards the reef or away from the reef, you have to start doing this. Okay, which is instantly not going to help your equalization. But if you have your hands above your head, or even one, okay, you can control by moving the hand where you want to guide. The other thing is, the end of the pole is very hard, and you don't want to hit it with your head, you want to hit it with your hand. Okay, so when you're swimming, we always encourage people to put their hands above their head in the basic position. Okay, the next step up is the fact that sometimes you might want to be in a hydrodynamic position, and if you haven't practiced that hydrodynamic position, if you can't click straight into it, you're not going to want to do it. You're not going to do it very well. Okay, so you need to learn that hydrodynamic position so you can get down quick, or you can come up quick. Okay, or you can go along quick if you need to, and you've got that in your tool bag. Okay. If you're just bimbling down, okay, and you want to have your hands by your side, okay, that's fine. Okay, it's super easy to go from this to this. Okay, but it's not so easy if you've only practiced with your hands down to put your hands up. It's very, very difficult to go that way. So that's why we practice it. It's the same principle we use with eyes closed. No tanks, we always dive with our eyes closed. Okay? Now, some people have kind of got into the pool and they swum off and sit the side wall, and they said, "Well, you said with your eyes closed." There is levels of eyes closed. Okay. In an ideal scenario, you genuinely have your eyes fully closed. Okay. That allows you to be more aware of yourself and bring your awareness into yourself. Okay. But obviously, if you're in a pool, you need to see where you're going, else you're not going to follow line. So you just open your eyes just a little bit and take in the minimum amount of information you need. In other words, is there a black line in front of you? Is the black line kind of going off that way? Okay, or so you can correct. Okay, but this is still classed as eyes closed. Now, why do we teach eyes closed? well, yeah, obviously the internalization of our dives is super important, but equally well, it's very easy to open your eyes, and people will do it all the time. Even they open their eyes. Just they'll be swimming along, so they'll feel somebody swish past them, they open their eyes, see whether they're going to get kicked in the head. They're diving downwards, and their eyes are closed and nice and relaxed, and then they hear something, or they think, oh, am I near the bottom or something? They open their eyes. It's super easy. You can't stop people opening their eyes when something happens. You can't do it. Okay? So this is why we teach eyes closed, eyes closed, eyes closed, eyes closed, eyes closed, because then you can easily open your eyes. Now, if you learn with your eyes open, it is indecently difficult to then close your eyes. And anybody who's done any sort of diving with eyes open and then they come to join us, it is the number one difficult thing for them to get hold of, closing the eyes and shutting out all that information. Even from the very first session that anybody does with us, or the first course, the foundation course, eyes closed, and you'll see the people like this who have done something before, and what they're on the side. What are they looking at? They're looking at my feet. They're looking at the swim buoys that are there. Nothing. There's no information there at all. Eyes closed, but it's very, very difficult to do. However, if you learn with your eyes closed, it's very easy to open them, and equally well, it's very easy to close them again. Okay, so having the option of eyes open, eyes closed is going to be a really, really big benefit to you as a freediver. But you cannot learn with eyes open and then close your eyes. And people, they kind of think, yeah, that's all right, I can close my eyes if I need to, but you won't. You just won't. Learn with your eyes closed, you'll open them if you need to. Learn to dive like this, and then you can bring your arms down. It's super easy. And the other, this follows on to the fact that, if this is hard work and it's like the shoulders are tough and the back stiff and it's really hard to be in this position, you want to train like this. So when you go, right, I'm on the reef, I'm gonna go to the bottom of the reef and take a picture, I was like, what? And I can have one hand here. Oh, that's easier. Or I can have hands beside me. Oh, that's super easy. You're instantly thinking, this is going to be a good dive. This is going to be an easy dive, because my training dives are so hard. And you always want it that way around. Train hard, dive easy. Train hard, dive easy. Same with the eyes closed. Same with when we do CO2 exercises or lactic exercises. We train them hard, make it easy. And somebody actually asked, when Alan was doing his records, somebody actually asked him, so he was training for his records, and we did, I can't remember what exercise it was. It was something particularly tough. I think it was probably lactic lengths or 30-second holds or something like that. And somebody said, hey dude, like, how does this compare? How does it compare with your record-breaking dives? And he went, our record-breaking dives easy compared to this. And we're like, what? But we're all doing this with you. We're doing these exercises with you, and you reckon these are super hard compared to your record-breaking dives. And you go, well, yeah, of course it is. In his mind, it was the correct way of thinking about it. Yeah, of course it is. Train hard, dive easy. But then that boost to everybody else was like, wow, we're doing the harder part of the exercises. So if we're doing the harder bit of your dives, then maybe we should be able to do the record or the long swims as well. And yeah, of course. Whereas if you have the other mindset of, the long swim's really hard, then you're going to put that off. You're going to go, oh man, I don't want to do the long swim. That's really hard. But instantly switching around, going, well, no, this is the hard bit. The long swim's the easy bit. And he kept saying that. He said that several times, that the long swims were easy because all he had to do was swim. The other people around him had the hard work, organising and judging and sorting things out. And that's the way it should be. So a couple of people have asked me about arm position, and so I went over it. I went into eyes closed as well, just to kind of give you a bit more information about that. And yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to cover. There was something else, and I'm sorry, I just kind of lost where I was for a second there. But I also wanted to mention the arms position. Okay, so there was a guy called Michael Phelps. You may or may not have heard of him, and he was, obviously a swimmer, and one of the great, if not the greatest, one of the greatest swimmers ever to walk the earth. Does that work? One of the greatest swimmers ever to swim on the earth, in the ocean, whatever. And if you watch the videos from year 2000, and there are some on YouTube where he's swimming, his dive gained him like a meter, 2 meters before the race has even started. Then he'd do it, and then everybody would be the same sort of pace. He'd do a turn, and he'd gain another 2 meters. And people were like, "How is he doing this?" And one of the things he did, I mean, he did incredible. I'm not going to say all of his, things came down to this, but one of the things he did was he studied hydrodynamics, and hydrodynamics of fin swimming. And when he dives in, if you look at those videos from, say, the early noughties, you'll see that his hand position was like this. He had the perfect monofin position, because the monofinners were going so fast, hydrodynamics played a big part of it. So they studied it and got the best hydrodynamic position. Whereas the swimmers, hydrodynamics wasn't that big a deal, so they didn't really kind of, tweak it as much. But Michael Phelps studied it and realised that don't want to hit the water like this, you want to hit the water like this. His arm position was in basic position, perfect. There was no lean here, it wasn't here, the hands were here, head, perfect position. And he hit the water, and he's monofinned. He didn't just like kick like the other swimmers did, and there was no feather kick going on. He kicked from the chest, boom, 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 and you can see it's an almost perfect monofin kick he has. Dives in, hits the water in a monofin position. I don't know whether he calls it a monofin position, but it's if you're monofin and you want to study them, perfect monofin position, kicks with a perfect monofin kick. Same with a turn. Did a turn, push, and then he went into perfect monofin position and monofin kick. And obviously he dominated the sport for, 10, 15 years or whatever he did. And other people kind of realised and they caught up. So if you watch videos from, slightly later, you'll see that other people are doing the same technique. Okay, so the dive in, monofin position as they hit the water, monofin kick. At the turn, monofin position, monofin kick. And it's just really interesting how it changed a little bit towards monofinning. And this is what we are basing our techniques on, our basic position, etc., etc. And you'll see quite a few swim schools now have monofins, use monofins, and they, trying to develop the core muscles the same as we do. Okay, so a short one today. It's Friday. You can kind of have 5 minutes off. Please, any questions, don't hesitate to ask me in the messages either on this video or on Facebook. That's fine. Somebody said the great picture at the beginning of the video. I always know I'm coming to the last stage of my static when I can't keep my eyes closed. There you go, Gabs. That's it. Absolutely. And you can see it as a as a safety diver. You can see something happens, and it's 9 times out of 10 it's where they've opened their eyes. It's something's clicked, and especially in static where they're probably a little bit asleep, a little bit kind of da 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 da, and then something changes and it's automatic. They open their eyes. What's going on? And it may be internal, maybe external, but it's usually internal. And 9 times out of 10, something internal happens, that it's like, okay, it's time to come up. Their eyes open. You can't stop it. And it's interesting when you talk to them. You go, oh yeah, I saw I saw when your eyes opened. Did you? How? And obviously the other people around you go, yeah, you can see it. And it goes hand in hand when you kind of get to that point. Anyway, I just saw the message as I moved the screen, so I thought I'd comment on it. So yeah, please ask me questions in the messages here, or if you want to ask them on Messenger, that's fine. Don't forget Q&A on Tuesday, and get your training diaries out ready for next Monday, because we're going to be doing specific exercises all 5 days. If you can't come to the session on Wednesday, actually in person, then please download YouTube onto your phone, take yourself to the park, and let's have the biggest dry freedive session in the world. Okay, so that's everybody who's not in the country. So Oliver, Yui, and Ed, if he's on Ted, sorry, if he's on. Get your phone, get online, and let's do this session together on Wednesday. So that's it for this week. Another great session, 50 no tank sessions online. That's brilliant. So thank you very much, and I'll see some of you tomorrow at the lake, and I'll see some of you on Monday. Well, I won't see you. You'll see me on Monday, and hopefully we'll get some more information over the weekend about other trips we're running. Don't forget Free Fest, 17th of July or 18th of July. It is definitely on. The campsite is opening, so we will be going to Free Fest in July 17th/18th. Be there or be dodecahedronoid. See you later.